I think you're lovely. I think you're nice. I think you're doing a great job. But we're not playing this game. It wasn't here last night. They sometimes bring it together. When I wanted it here.
This is what I'm reading today. This is Shishi, and this is Shvi'i.
Oh, the fox legs. Not as much as you were hoping.
No. A few here and there. Have to analyze it enough.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom. We are going to, good morning.
We're going to good morning.
We're going to continue our service on page 147. We're continuing our service on page 147 in the Red Sidurim.
שוכנת מרום וקדוש שמו וכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני לישרים נבע תהילה בפי ישרים תתהלל ובדברי צדיקים תתברך ובלשון חסידים תתרומם ובקרב קדושים תתקדש ובמקלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל.
ורינה יפר שמך מלכינו בכל דור ודור שחילך והכל יצורים לפניך דמלנו ולא יבותינו וימותינו.
על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות דוד בן ישי עבדך משיחך.
Please rise, Yishtabach, page 148.
ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו. אל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ כי לכבודו אדמנו. ברכות והודעות מעתה ועד עולם ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול בתשבחות אל ההודעות אדון הנפלאות הבוחר בשירי זמרה מלך אלכי העולמים יתגדל ויקדש שמי רבה ויעמד דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן ביעלמה ואמרו amen.
Please remain standing. The Baruch Hu, our call to prayer, page 149.
Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvorei choshech oseh shalom uvorei et hakol.
As we continue with the first bracha before the Shema, you can all be seated as we are on page 150. Clean up so nicely. Sorry, you lost the girl. Yeah. Your student has made it.
אין קרקך ואין זולתך, אפס בלתך ומיתו מלך. אין קרקך, אדוני אלוהינו בעולם הזה, ואין זולתך מלכנו לחיי העולם הבא. אפס בלתך גואלנו לימות המשיח, ואין דומה לך מושיענו לתחיית המתים. אל אדון על כל המעשים ברוך ומבורך בפי כל נשמה 151 בגודלו וטובו מלא עולם דעת ותבונה סובבים אותו המתגאה על חיות הקודש נדר בכבוד על המרכבה זכות ומישות לפני חיסו חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו יצרם בדעת בבינה ובשכל כוח וגבורה נתן בהם להיות מושלים בקרב תבל מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה נועה זיווה בכל העולם שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם עושים בהם הרצון קונם פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמו תהילה ורינה לזכר מלכותו קרא לשמש ויזרח אורה ויתקין צורת הלבנה שבע נותנים לו כל צבא מרום תפארת וגדולה שרפים ואופנים וחיות הקודש אליי 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 לאל אשר שבת מכל המעשים בואי משווית עליו יש תתברך מושיענו על שבח מעשה ידיך ועל מאורי אור שעשית יפרוך הסלע 153 תתברך צורנו מלכנו וגואלנו בורא קדושים ומברכים ומשבחים ומפארים ומריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל המלך הגדול הגיבור והנורא הקדוש ובכולם להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח בשפה ברורה ונימה קדושה כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא כל הארץ כבודו והאופנים וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מן השיאים לעומת שרפים לעומתם משבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני במקומו לאל ברוך נעימות ייתנו למלך החף הקיים סמיר ג'מור המחדש בטובו בכל יום תמיד מעשה בראשית כאמור. אור חדש על ציון תאיר ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות אהבה רבה אהבתנו. We're on page 154. והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון, וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול סלע סלע, באמת להודות לך, וליחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meotecha ve'ayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הקנה פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תתורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We're on page 157 of the red Sidorim in the seat pockets in front of you.
לדור ודור הוא קיים ושמו קיים וחיסון נכון, ומלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת. על הראשונים ולאחרונים דבר טוב וקיים לעולם. מת שעתנו אלוהינו מלאבותינו ואמותינו, מלכנו מלך אבותינו ואמותינו, גואלנו גואל אבותינו ואמותינו, יוצרנו צור ישועתנו, פודנו מצילנו מעולם שמך, אין אלוהים זולתך, עזרת אבותינו ואמותינו אתה, ומעולם מגן משה לבני עמכם. אשר ישמע למצוותיך ותורתך ודברך ישים על ליבו אמונתם. ממצרים אל תנו אדוני אלוהינו מבית אבותינו. We're in the middle of page 158. Tilo le'el elyon baruch hu umvarach Moshe u'Miriam u'bnei Yisrael lecha anu shira besimcha rabba v'yamru chulam mi chamocha bo'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh nora teilot Osefele Shira Chadasha Shibchu Geulir Neshimcha Sfat Hayam Yachad Kulam Oduvim Lichu Ve'yameru Adonai Yimloch Leolam Va'ed Tzur Yisrael Kuma B'Ezrat Yisrael Uftechinu mecha Yehuda veYisrael Go aleinu Adonai tzvaot shemo Kedosh Yisrael Baruch Ata Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
Amen. We continue with the Amidah, which can be found beginning on page 159, and we'll daven the first three brachot of the Amidah together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Agadol, Hagibor ve'Anora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Akol, Ve'zocher Chastei Avot ve'imahot, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו, לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. Baruch atah Adonai mechayei hametim.
The Kedusha, the third blessing of the Amidah, page 161.
Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam keshem shemakdishim oto b'shemei marom kakatuv ayad neviecha וקרא זה אל זה ויאמר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא כל הארץ כבודו אז בקול רעש גדול אדיר וחזק משפיעים כל מתנשאים ליומת סרפים ליומתם ברוך יאמרו ברוך כבוד אדוני במקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך מתי תמלוך בציון בקרוב בימינו לעולם ועד תשכון תתגדע ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים ועינינו תראנה מלכותך כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך על ידי דוד משיח צדקך ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור הללויה לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Amen. Please use the next few moments as your own opportunity to pray and meditate. When you've completed your Amidah, you can be seated as we continue with Kaddish Shalem.
יתגרה ויקרא שמי רבה בעלמא דברה חירותי וימלך מלכותי בחייכון וימכון וחי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ימרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם וליומי יומי יתברך וישתבח ויפור ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמיון וימה וימרו אמן תתקבל צלותינו ואותנו תכל ישראל קודם אבוהנו וישמעיה ויאמרו אמן יהי שלום רב מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ויאמרו amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Good morning. Welcome to our Shabbat service. Welcome to Malinda's Bat Mitzvah. Now, everyone, Malinda, I hope your friends know to behave themselves. They're okay. Okay. What a beautiful morning it is when and just talking to a few of you, in some ways we all choose to do this. And the goal of a bar bat mitzvah at the age of 12 or 13, 12 for girls, 13 for boys, is that we help to kind of like nudge them on the path to connection, the path to Jewish values, the path to Jewish community, the path to caring about the world. And when someone then decides to choose that path later in life, that's a real inspiration. It's an inspiration for all of us. So I think that we're all so happy to be here. And it's great, Malinda, to see your extended family and some friends with us as we begin your bat mitzvah celebration. So, and I have to say, Malinda, I see a lot of benot mitzvah, but those are the coolest shoes out of any bat mitzvah I've ever. You'll all check out Malinda's shoes when she's up at the Torah. Those are like some hip shoes. She is very hip. She takes after her mom. No, not at all. Okay. Anyway, if you are visiting us from far or wide, my name is Brian Schuldenfrei. I'm one of the rabbis here. It's my pleasure to lead services with Judy Dubin-Aronoff, the woman with the beautiful voice, our cantor. And so we will now continue with the Torah service and the celebration of Shabbat. And Jewish community, and of course, Malinda's Bat Mitzvah. So we are going to continue on page 100. By the way, I'm apologizing in advance for the sound system. There's bad news, which it doesn't work. The good news is it's being replaced. So the bad and the good. But anyway, we're going to continue with Seder Kriyat HaTorah, our Torah service, page 168. But before we do that, correct? Right? We have So we are now ready to pay. We were just, anyway, page 168, Seder Kriyat HaTorah.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, v'ein kema'asecha, malchutecha, malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'ador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch, le'olam va'ed, Adonai os li'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom, avarachamim, heitiv avirtzonecha et Zion. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, Ki becha levad batachnu, Melech Aram v'Nisa, Adon. Vayehi bin Aaron, vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai, veyafutzu oivecha, veyanusu mesanecha mipanecha, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah. Udevar Adonai mi-Yerushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah,
the bottom of page 170.
Beyana rachetz velishmei kadisha kadisha yakira ana emar tushbechan beyana rachetz beyana rachetz velishmei kadisha kadisha yakira ana emar tushbechan yehi rava kodamach detiftach libi beoraita v'tashli mishalim delibi v'liba dechol amach Yisrael letav u'lechaim v'lishlam. Amen. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shema. Gadlu l'Adonai iti uneram ema shemo yachdav lecha Adonai hagedula ve'agevura ve'atiferet ve'anetzach ve'ahod chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz Ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz lecha Adonai hamamlacha v'yamid na'aseh lechol erosh romimu romimu Adonai Eloheinu ve'hishtachavu Lehadom raglav kadoshu Romimu, Romimu Adonai Eloheinu Vehishtachavu, Vehishtachavu Lehar kodsho Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romimu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimu. Oh, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimu. Oh, romimu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho.
Shabbat Shalom. We can all be seated. This morning we are continuing in the Genesis story. For those of you, it's been a while, 5 books in the Torah, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and we are reading the first of the 5 books. The story of Genesis is the birth of the Jewish family, the birth of the world, and then the birth of the Jewish family. Exodus is the birth of a nation, with particular emphasis on the idea of liberation and duty to the world. The book of Leviticus is the question of how to be holy. The book of Numbers is essentially how to build a just society. And the book of Deuteronomy is Moses' farewell speech. That's the Cliff Notes version of the Torah. Now, we are in the middle of that family narrative. We had Abraham, we had Isaac, and now Jacob. Now, Jacob just got into a kerfuffle with his twin brother, and he decides that it's best to leave town with the advice of his parents. So Jacob is on the run. He is leaving Beersheba. That's what the parsha is called, Vayetze Yaakov mi Beersheba, that Jacob leaves Beersheba and he heads to Haran, which is where his family is from originally. He is seeking refuge. While he is there, he spies out a girl who catches his eye, who also has a sister. And so this is not done anymore, but he ends up being married to both of them. If you have questions about that, we can make an appointment. It's best talked about over a cup of coffee. Anyway, what's interesting is there's sort of a literary mirroring that Jacob is part of a duplicitous act against his brother. And then, so he is part of a duplicitous act against his brother, and then he is victimized by a duplicitous act involving 2 sisters. And so that duplicity yields his marriage to both of them, and that is, of course, his wives Leah and Rachel. And that is sort of, now, I just want to address really very quickly. If some of you are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's in the Torah, that's exactly the point. The Torah is not supposed to be, or religion is not supposed to live in the clouds, right? The goal of religion is to speak to our real lives and the difficulties that each one of us experience, and to the trials and to the hardships and to the strife. Now, of course, our family dynamics, our family culture, the culture in which we live is different than back then. But I think we would all acknowledge that behind closed doors, we all have our stuff, right? We all have our places where our families encounter difficulties. And I think what the Torah is telling us is that even our ancestors had these difficulties. The very first Jewish family, it's a struggle the entire way. In some ways, they are models to the world, but they struggle in their own home. And that is a very poignant and important lesson for all of us, whatever faith tradition we're part of. So those are some things for us to think about as we begin this morning's Torah reading. Malinda, we're going to do this all fancy like. So come over here. This is what we do with the 13-year-olds. Come stand on this right over here. This is the stage directions. Okay, Ray, I'm going to switch places with you. Okay, the reading this morning, usually, often the bat mitzvah is one of the last aliyot to be called, but, Malinda has been waiting long enough for this, so we figured we'd call her up first. Page 166. Page 166, verse 10. So right at the top of the page. Okay, now, you ready? This is it.
Yes.
In the presence of her family, community, and before the entire Jewish people, it is our pleasure and honor to call Malinda Marcus to the Torah in celebration of her bat mitzvah.
Tamot, Tamot, Tamod ha-isha Malka bat Michael v'Yehudit bat ha-mitzvah l'aliyah harishona. Okay, so you can take this. I'll take this.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamborach. Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Vayetze Yaakov mi Be'er Shava vayelech harana. Vayifka b'makom, vayalen sham, kiva hashemesh, vayikach me'abnei hamakom, vayasem mera'ashotav, vayishkav b'makom ahu, vayachalom, vehine sulam, mutzav arza, Verosho magia hashamayma, vehine malachei Elohim, olim veyoredim bo. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher natan lanu Torah demet v'chayei olam nata betochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Stay right there. Okay, hold on 1 second. Yeah, you could. Yeah. Yeah. You want to sit? Yeah. Just have the seat right there. You all have the candy. Do you have the candy? I'll give you the signal. Not yet. Hold it. Okay. I feel like this is a classroom moment. You're going to turn around and the kids are going to, like, anarchy is going to break out. Actually, and teaching Malinda is, first of all, Mazel Tov. I mean, this is such a beautiful occasion, and that you're inspired to be called to the Torah now is just, it's really just, I think it puts a smile on all of our faces to see your Jewish journey. And I want to talk about a different type of journey, which is your educational journey. So right outside, I said, Malinda, remind me, I couldn't remember if Malinda taught reading, literature, English, or if she taught math. And I said, Malinda, do you teach math? And she looked at me, she gave me that look, and she was like, no way, I do not teach math. But she said proudly, I teach English. And I thought of something, Malinda, in the Torah this morning, which is that there is a math problem that is resolved with a literary analysis. And I want to point that out to you. So here's the math problem that the Torah has. The Torah says that they don't translate it correctly, because there's sort of a weird part in the Torah where it says that Jacob, you remember I told you Jacob's on the run? Well, he needs to make a pit stop at night. He needs to go to sleep. There's no Best Western or Motel 6 on the journey, so he pulls up on the side of the road and he gathers a bunch of rocks. The Torah is very clear. It's many rocks. And then he has this beautiful dream, and Melinda's going to talk about that dream a little later on. But then when he wakes up, it says that it was one rock. So there's a mathematical problem in the Torah. When he went to sleep on a bunch of rocks. When he woke up, there was only one rock. What happened to all the rocks? Now, the Torah, the rabbis, offer a literary solution to this mathematical problem. And what they say is that what happened was all the rocks they have a story, the rabbis. They imagine that all of the rocks started talking to one another and fighting for the privilege of being the rock under which Jacob, the patriarch, would sleep. And when God saw this discord and this disharmony amongst the rocks, he molded them together as one. In other words, what the text is saying is that things, even rocks, need to come together in order to avoid discord and disharmony. And it's godly to do that. It's godly, in essence, to bring people together. And Malinda, that is what you do. You bring people together, whether it's in the classroom. And I'll never forget at the board meeting the other month when you talked about how you are a proud educator and how proud you were that the scores of our state had risen in contrast to the scores of the rest of the country, and the personal pride that you took in the achievements of your community, your educational community. You understand the importance of community, of bringing people together. But then also in your volunteer role here, Malinda, bringing people together. It is not easy to serve as a community leader, whether it's the Women of a Dot or on the board or just being present here. But Malinda, you do it, and you do it with grace, and you do it with kindness, and you do it with an enormous heart. And I think that that is one of your biggest blessings. So you're bringing people together in the classroom, bringing people together through your volunteerism, but most importantly, bringing these people together, your family, the people who love and celebrate you. What a complete honor, what an incredible honor it is to, and I see the pride that you take in watching your children. And I get the privilege of seeing Sarah's path every day and the joy that you take in her journey. And that when she had the opportunity to work at a dot full time, for you, there was no, it was like she got a job like at the White House. Like for you, it was the job. And for her, it is the job. That speaks to the emphasis, the values that you placed, that your home exhibited and that you led with. And so that you are someone, again, Malinda, who understands the importance of bringing people together with harmony and love. You understood what the Torah is teaching us, what our tradition is teaching us. To bring things, even fighting rocks together, is godly. And that godliness you embody every day through all of your actions. And so I know you feel honored to be here, but we feel honored to have you. Mazel tov. We're going to offer her one more blessing. Why don't we get her, well, yeah, you guys will stay in place, and then we'll fire the candy. Okay, you ready? Okay, so Cantor, come on up.
Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
As God has blessed you and guarded over you, may God continue to bless you with the love of your family, the protection of our community, and the guidance of our sacred tradition.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
As God has been gracious to you, giving you love in your life, may God continue to be gracious to you, allowing you to continue to be the source of love and goodness in the world.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May the path that you continue to travel in your life continue to be a path of light, a path of goodness, and a path of blessing. And let us all say, Amen.
Mazel tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, mazel tov, siman tov, yehei lanu, ulecho Yisrael, yehei lanu, ulecho Yisrael, yehei lanu, ulecho Yisrael, yehei lanu, ulecho Yisrael.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov. Who's going to clean up the bima?
That's right. I'm actually going to go to Tat Shabbat now, and I'll tell them to come. Here, maybe I'll take some candy with me. Here we go.
Oh, the parents will just love you.
Here. Thank
The
you.
Torah service continues on page 166, verse 13.
Where's the He's got the no. Here it is right here. Yamdu l'aliyah hashniya. Baruch atah Adonai. Baruch atah Adonai. Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'charbanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torto. Baruch atah Adonai,
Amen. V'hinei Adonai ניצב עליך ויאמר אני אדוני אלוהי אברהם אביך ואלוהי יצחק הארץ אשר אתה שוכב עליך לך אתננה ולזרעך והיה זרעך כעפר הארץ ופרצת ימה וקיימה צפונה ונגבה ונברכה בך כל משפחות האדמה וזרעך והנה אנוכי עמך ושמרתיך בכל אשר תלך והשיב אותיך על האדמה הזאת כי לא אעזבך עד אשר אם עשיתי את אשר דיברתי לך ויקץ יעקב משנתו ויאמר אכן יש אדוני במקום הזה ואנוכי לא ידעתי וירא ויאמר מה נורא המקום הזה אין זה כי אם בית אלוהים וזה שער השמיים.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'chokenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
The third aliyah can be found on page 168, verse 18.
But before we get to the third aliyah, in verse 14, I think it's 14, there is a famous line. It's only famous because it's got a song to it. And the song, well, I don't know if it's only famous because it's got a song to it, but where's verse 14? It says, "V'haya zaracha ka'afar ha'aretz," and your descendants shall be as the dust of the earth, you shall spread out. Yama v'kedma tzafona v'negba, you should spread to the west, to the east, to the north, and to the south. And the song, for those who know it, sing with me. Ufaratzta, 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 yama v'kedma tzafona v'negba. Ufaratzta, 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 yama v'kedma tzafona v'negba. Ufaratzta, yama v'kedma. Ufaratzta, tzafona v'negba. Ufarasa, 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 yama v'kema, tzafona v'negba, yama v'kema, tzafona v'negba.
Yama v'kema tzafona v'negba. Yama v'kema tzafona v'negba.
Shakora.
Take that show on the road.
Yeah,
we go.
okay.
I almost broke into it during the meeting.
Ya'amod Yaakov Yosef ben Yisrael Dov Shalishi.
Baruch hu et Adonai Baruch.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayashkem Yaakov vaboker vayivkach et האבן אשר שם מראשותיו וישם אותה מצבה ויצוק שמן על ראשה ויקרא את שם המקום ההוא בית אל ואולם לוז שם העיר לראשונה וידר יעקב נדר לאמור אם אלוהים עמדי ושמרני בדרך הזה אשר אנוכי חולק ונתן לי לחם לאוכל ובגד ללבוש ושבתי בשלום אל בית אבי והיה אדוני לי לאלוהים והאבן הזאת אשר שמתי בצבע יהיה בית אלוהים וכל אשר תיתן לי אשר אסרנו לך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Ernie, I know that it is your tradition to have an aliyah when you are recalling Doris at your time of yahrzeit. And I want to just let you know that I think that that's one of the most beautiful ways that you can remember somebody as wonderful as Doris. And I was very fortunate to have known her. And so you bring her into the room, but you bring her into the entire community for all of us, as you remember. And we're extremely grateful for that and for the love that you share as you do the bracha.
Thank you very much, Rabbi.
The Torah service continues on page 169, verse 1.
Yamod Yaakov ben Eliezer v'Yona Revi'i.
Baruch hu Adonai Baruch. Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayisa Yaakov raglav, vayelech artsa v'nei kedem, vayar v'hinei ve'er basadeh, v'hinei sham shlosha edrei tzon, robtzim aleha, ki min ha'be'er hahi, yashkuhu ha'adarim, ve'ha'even gedolah al pi ha'be'er, v'ne'esfu shama cho ha'adarim, v'galalu et ha'even me'al pi ha'be'er, v'hishkuhu et ha'tzon, v'heshivu et ha'even al pi ha'be'er limkomaham. Vayomer lahem Yaakov, achai me'ayin atem, vayomeru mecharan anachnu. Vayomer lahem haydatem et levan beit Nachor, vayomru yadanhu,
Vayomer lahem hashalom lo, vayomru shalom, vehine Rachel bito, baha im hatzon. Vayomer hein od hayom gadol, lo et he'asef hamikneh, hashku hatzon ulechurehu, vayomru lo nucha, ahad asher ye'asfu kol ha'adarim, v'galelu et ha'even me'api ha'be'er, v'hishkinu hatzon.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'toheinu, Baruch atah Adonai notena Torah.
As I understand it, Jim, today is the anniversary of your bar mitzvah.
Yes, it is.
And as I also understand it, your bar mitzvah didn't happen when you were 13 years old.
No, I was 29. I had Malinda beat by 10 years.
Well, I won't ask you how many years of anniversary of your bar mitzvah this is, but
I can't count that high.
but we want to say Mazel Tov to you. Mazel Tov on a lot of different levels. You didn't have the bar mitzvah when you were a child, but you chose to have your bar mitzvah later in life. And you've been choosing ever since to be in a very important part of this congregation. And we're so grateful that on that day when you were 29, your life took you in a direction to be so much a part and an integral part of the community that we all love. So Mazel Tov. Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Leilanu. Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Leilanu.
The Torah service continues on page 170, verse 9.
Oh, hello, everybody. Ta'amodna, a whole bunch of people, Aliyah Chamishit.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamorach. Baruch Adonai Hamorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Odenu medaber imam, v'rachel ba himatzon asher le'aviha, ki roha hi, vayehi ka'asher ra'a Yaakov et Rachel, bat Lavan achi imo, v'etzon Lavan achi imo, vayigash Yaakov, vayagel et ha'even me'al pi ha'be'er, vayashk et son Lavan achi imo, vayishak Yaakov leRachel, vayisa et kolo, vayivehek, vayaged Yaakov leRachel, ki achi aviha hu, v'chiven Rivka hu, v'taratz v'tager le'aviha, v'yehi chishmo Lavan et shema Yaakov ben achoto, v'yaretz likrato, v'yechabek lo, v'yeneshek lo, v'yeviehu el beito, v'yesaper leLavan et kol hadvarim ha'ele, v'yomer lo Lavan, ah, atzmi uvsari ahata, vayeshev imo chodesh yamim, vayomer Lavan Yaakov, hachi achi ata, va'avadatani chinam, hagida lihi mamas kurtecha, Ulalavan shtei vanot shem hagdola leah ushem haknana Rachel ve'enei leah Rachot ve'Rachel hayita yefat tohar vifat mar'eh. And speaking of Leah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
The sixth aliyah can be found on page 171, verse 18.
Ta'amod. It says so right here. Elisheva, Bat Yaakov, Umalka. We have a lot of Yaakovs today. Laliyah Hashishit.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach lo yolam vahed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachbanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayehav Yaakov et Rachel, vayomer evodcha sheva shanim berachel bitcha haktana, vayomer Lavan, tov titiota lach mititiota leish acher sheva imadi. Vayavod Yaakov berachel sheva shanim, vayu beinav kiyamim achadim ba'ahavato ota. Vayomer Yaakov el Lavan, hava et ishti ki malu yamai va'avoa eleha. Vayesof Lavan et kol anshe hamakom vayas mishteh, vayehi va'erev, vayikach et Leah bito, vayave ota elav vayavo eleha. Vayiten Lavan la et zilpa shivchato leleah bito shivcha, vayehi vaboker. Vehinehi Leah vayomer Elavan, mazot asita li, halo verachel avadati imach, velama rimitani. Vayomer Lavan lo yeasechen bimkomenu latet hatzira lifnei habechira, male shevu azot. Uvenitena lecha gam et zot ba'avoda asher tavod imadi od sheva shanim acherot. Vayas Yaakov ken vayimale shevu hazot, vayiten lo et Rachel bito lo leisha. Vayiten Lavan lerachel bito et Bilha shivchato la leshivcha. Vayavo gam el Rachel vayehav gam et Rachel milea. Vayavod imo sheva shanim acherot. Vayar Adonai kisnua Leah vayiftach et Rachma verachel akara, vatahar Leah vatelet ben vatikra shemo Reuven, ki amra kira Adonai ve'oni, ki ata yehavani ishi. v'taharod v'teled ben v'tomer ki shama Adonai ki snua anochi v'yiten li gam et zeh v'tikra shemo Shimon.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
Seventh Aliyah can be found on page 174, verse 34.
Yeah, I know. My glasses are Ya'amdu hamishpoche. La aliyah hashvi'it. You're not here. You're next. Go sit down.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. V'taharod v'teled ben v'tomer Ata hapa'am yilave ishi elai ki yaladati lo shlosha banim al kein kara shemo Levi v'taharod v'teled ben Vatomer hapa'am odeh et Adonai al ken kara shemo Yehuda vata'amod miledet vatere Rachel ki lo yalda li Yaakov v'tekane Rachel ba'achotav vatomer el Yaakov havali banim ve'im ayin meta anochi vayichar af Yaakov v'Rachel Vayomer hatachat Elohim anochi asher mana mimech puri vatem vatomer hine amati vilha ba eleha vateled al birkai vaibane gam anochi mimena vatiten lo et bilha shivchata leisha vayavo eleha Yaakov Vatahar bilha vateled leYaakov ben vatomer Rachel danani Elohim vegam shama bekoli vayiten li ben al kein kara shemo Dan vatahar od vateled bilha shivchat Rachel ben sheni leYaakov Vatomer Rachel naftule el Elohim niftalti im achoti gam yacholti vatikra shemo Naftali. Just leave it. Okay. Shemo Naftali. Vaterelea ki amda miledet vatikach et zilpa shivchata vatiten ota Yaakov leisha vateled zilpa shivchat lea Yaakov ben vatomer lea bagad vatikra shemo Gad Vateled zilpa shivchat Leah ben sheni Yaakov vatomer Leah beoshri ki ishruni banot Vatikra et Shemo Asher. Amen. Shakoach, you can go stand on the other side. Yit. Oh, sorry.
Please turn on the light. Please rise.
Yitkada v'yitkada shemei rabba v'yalmad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael bagala uv'izman kariv yimeru Amen Yehi shmei rabba mevorach li'olam li'omei omayayim Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu li'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushvechata v'nechemata damiran b'yoma v'yimeru Amen.
Please be seated. The maftir for this morning can be found towards, actually the last line on page 175. Page 175, the last line on the page, beginning with verse 9.
Yeah. Where are you
So again, it's okay, let's just do it. No, it's okay, it's okay, let's just read it.
Okay, so what is it?
What is it?
Right there.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Okay. I did. Oh wait, no, we changed the, yeah.
I thought I wasn't going
No,
too
no,
crazy.
no. Yeah, we're having a communication issue, but we're resolved.
Hi, my name is Judy. Nice
Judy,
to meet you.
it's a pleasure to meet you. Welcome to Adat Ariel.
Oh, thank you.
We are now, we've changed the maftir, and now we are reading from page 187 at the top of the page.
And it's right over here. Ta'amod Sarachana bat Yehuda umalka maftir.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. There it is.
Vayishkem Lavan baboker v'nashek levanav velivnotav yivarechehem vayelech vayashav Lavan limkomo ve'Yaakov halach ledarko v'yifkeu bo malachei Elohim Vayomer Yaakov kasher ha'am machane Elohim ze vayikra shem hamakom hahu machanayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
יעמדו המגביה והגולל.
Please rise to the lifting and laughing of the sacred Torah. Yeah, women empowerment. You got it.
זאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה בתומכי המאושר. עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה תומכי המאושר. דרכיה דרכי נועם בכל נתיבותיה שלום. דרכיה דרכי נועם בכל נתיבותיה שלום. לי 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 יאי לי 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 ינאי ני ני יאי לי 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 Nai 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 ai nai 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 yai nai 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 nai.
Please be seated. If those of you are wondering, wow, how can I be as strong, as balanced as Hillary, who lifted the Torah? Well, you can come to Yoga with Hillary on Tuesdays at 4:30 right here in our Wellness Center, where you will build physical and spiritual toughness, resilience, and balance. Tuesdays at 4:30 with Hillary, Yoga with Hillary. I think the proof is in the pudding that it works. So anyway, thank you to Hillary, and thank you to all our participants in the Torah service. We are now, there's a lot of good reason to celebrate. I just finished up with Tat Shabbat. We had a room filled with our youngest members of our community dancing and singing and laughing and holding one another in celebration of Shabbat. And there's a lot of good reason to be happy, to celebrate Malinda with you and your entire family. Is really a beautiful way to spend Shabbat. And Shabbat is also a reminder to us, or prayer should be a reminder to us, that we live while we all have difficulties, and maybe prayer helps us address those difficulties. Prayer also is supposed to pave the road to others. In other words, prayer is an opportunity for us to think about other people beyond ourselves. And so that's what we do in this particular prayer. It's called the Misha Berach, and it's a prayer for anyone who's experiencing illness. So it's our hope that by saying the names of the people who are ill, it will kind of inspire us to be supportive of them. So if you know of someone who is in need of a prayer of healing, please rise in your place. And when I look at you, please share the names of the people for whom you're praying, so we can all pray on their behalf. Misha Berach Avotinu V'Imotinu. May God, who has blessed us with so much blessing in our own personal lives and the lives of our people, help us recognizing the suffering of all who are experiencing illness in this world, including
Kath Reddick and Dennis Wolf.
Shirit Shmuel Abad Shoshana, Pesach Ben Sipor Alida Bad Bracha.
in the Tat Shabbat, I reminded the parents that the purpose of Hanukkah was to add light in a time of darkness. It's no coincidence that we celebrate our festival of lights at the darkest point in the year. And perhaps that is a Jewish imperative, that we are supposed to be instruments of light throughout the world. And so as we consider all those people who are feeling afflictions of body, afflictions of soul, may God inspire us to help them, to reach out to them, to love them, to embrace them, and help them on the path of healing. And let us all say,
Amen.
this morning, our Haftarah can be found on page 189. And I know usually the Haftarah, which is a section of the prophets, so basically what happened, or this is what the legend is, that there were laws made that prohibited the Jews from reading the Torah, kind of akin to Hanukkah, right? So you can't read from the Torah, said the authorities. So the rabbi said, okay, we can't read from the Torah. So then they picked a section from the prophets, which is a second section of the Hebrew Bible, that was symbolic, that had some sort of symbolism or shared theme with what would have been the Torah portion. And the rabbis instituted the reading of that instead of the Torah. And then when Jews were able once again to read the Torah, they kept up the practice of reading this section from the prophets. That's been now known as the Haftarah. And now leading us in the Haftarah this morning is Sarah Marcus, our tutor extraordinaire for her mother, page 189. I don't know. I know. Here. It's on page 175. The blessings can be found on page 175.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratza v'divreihem הנאמרים באמת Baruch atah Adonai הבוחר בתורה ובמשה עבדו ובישראל עמו ובנביאי האמת והצדק. ויברך יעקב שדה ארם ועבוד ישראל ואישה ובאישה שמר ובנביא העלה אדוני את ישראל ממצרים ובנביא נשמר הכניס אפרים תמרורים ודמיו עליו יטוש וחרפתו ישיב לו אדוניו כדבר אפרים רטט נשאו בישראל ואשם בבל וימות ועתה יוסיפו לחתו ועשו להם מסכה מכספם כתבונם עצמים מעשה חרשים כולו להם הם אומרים זובחי אדם עגלים ישקון לכן יהיו כאן בוקר וחטא משכים הולך כמות ישראל מגורן וחשן מערובה ואנוכי אדוני אלוהיך מארץ מצרים ואלוהים זולתי לא תדע ומושיע אין בלתי אני ידעתיך במדבר בארץ תלוות כמריתם ויספעו סבו וירם ליבם על כן שחטאוני והיא להם כמו שחל כנמר על דרך אשור אפגשם כדוב שקוף ואקרא סגור ליבם ואוכלם שם כלביא חיית השדה תבקם שכתך ישראל קיבי ועזרך אהי מלכך אפור ויושיעך בכל עריך ושופטך אשר אמרת תנעלי מלך בשרים אתן לך מלך באפי וכך בעברתי צרור עוון אפרים צפונה חטאתו חבלי יולדה יבואו לו ובן לו חכם כי עד לא יעמוד במשפל בנים מיד שאול אפתם ממוות אגלם אהי דבריך מוות אהי כתבך שאול נוחם יסתר מעיני כי הוא בן אחים יפרי יבוא קדים רוח אדוני ממדבר עולה ובוש מקורב ויחרב מעיינו הוא איש שר אוצר כל כלי חמדה תשם שומרון כי מרתה באלוהיה בחרב יפולו עולה להם ירוטשו והריותיו יבוקהו. שוב ישראל עד אדוני אלוהיך, כי חשלת בעוונך. קחו עמכם דברים ושובו אל אדוני, אמרו אליו, כל תישא עוון וכך טוב ונשלמה פרים שפתנו, אשור לא ישוענו, על סוס לא נרכב ולא נאמר עוד אלוהינו למעשה ידינו, אשר בך ירוחם יתום. אל פעם משובתם אוהבם נדבה, כי שבה פי ממנו. איך אתה לישראל יפרח כשושנה, ויחשר עכשיו כלבנון. ילכו יונקותיו, ויהי חזית הודו, וריח לו כלבנון. ישובו יושבי וצילו, יחיו דגן, יפרחו חגפן, זכרו כיין לבנון. אפרים מליאות לעצבים, אני טיב אשורנו, אני כבראש רענן ממני, פרח נמצא. מי חכם ויבן אלה נבון, וידעם כי ישרים דרכי אדוני, וצדיקים ילכו בה, ופשעים ייכשלו בם. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, צור כל העולמים, צדיק בכל הדורות, האל הנאמן, האומר ועושה, המדבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק. נאמן אתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו, ונאמנים דבריך, ודבר אחד מדבריך, הכל לא ישוב ריקם. כי המלך נאמן ורחמן אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הנאמן וכל דבריו. רחם על ציון, כי היא בית חיינו, ולעלובת נפש תושיע במהרה בימינו. ברוך אתה אדוני, משמח ציון בבניה. שמחנו אדוני אלוהינו באליהו הנביא עבדך, ומלכות בית דוד משיחך, במהרה יבוא ויגל ליבנו, על כיסא לא ישב זר, ולא ינחלו עוד אחרים את כבודו, כי בשם קודשך נשבעת לו, שלא יכבה נרו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן דוד.
אמן.
על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך, יברך שמך ופיך תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך הוא ברוך שמו,
מקדש השבת.
Yesha koach too, Sarah. Don't go anywhere. We're going to extol your virtues in just a second. There you go. This morning sort of organically grew. And it grew from Malinda taking an aliyah to Malinda reading a little Torah, to Malinda reading the Torah, chanting the Shema, doing some stuff after, being the Darshanit, and full-on celebration of her bat mitzvah. And the engine behind that expansion was Sarah. Sarah's joy and enthusiasm for our tradition is nothing short of infectious. And, your love of Adat Ariel and your love of your family is quite strong and quite inspirational. So I just want to, Sarah taught her mom everything for this. Her mom taught her everything else. And when you have a disagreement, by the way, your mom is always right. But I love this. I love that what you two model, which is that it's difficult sometimes for a parent to give up control. Not speaking from personal experience or anything, but it's difficult for a parent to look to a child, even if that child is a fully grown woman herself, and to say, you have something to teach me, and you can serve as my role model. And Malinda, your ability and your capacity to open yourself up and to expand yourself through the teachings of your daughter. And Sarah, your enthusiasm and your compelling light, which made that so attractive to your mother, is just a model for all of us. So we just want to acknowledge that. We want to name that. We want to thank you for serving as a teacher of Torah and as a student of your mom's in so many other ways. And as you have inspired your mother to love, to embrace Judaism, it's our hope and prayer that you'll continue to inspire the youth of our community as our youth advisor to continue to bring our children closer to the Torah, to closer to the tradition, and closer to our ethical imperative to bring light to the world. May that be God's will, and let us all say, Amen. We're going to continue with our service with a prayer for our country as well as our homeland, the state of Israel. And we're going to continue with the prayer for our country on the bottom of page 177. Page 177, back in the smaller red books. May it be your will that our land be a blessing to all who dwell on earth, and may it cause all peoples to dwell in friendship and freedom. Speedily fulfill the vision of your prophets. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. For all of them, from the least of them to the greatest, shall know me. And let us say, Amen. And together, let's read the Tefillah for Medinat Yisrael, a prayer for our homeland, the state of Israel, on page 178. It's December. We're starting to think about summer plans. And if you would like your summer plans to include a trip to Israel, please speak to me after the service or grab the information off of our website. We are having a congregational trip to Israel. So if it's been a while, or if you've never been, we would love the blessing of you joining our group as we travel to Israel this coming summer. And we have a really great nucleus of people who are interested in the trip. It's multi-generational, and it's going to be really incredible. So if you are interested in that trip, please speak to me or just go on the website for all the information. Let's offer a prayer for Medinat Yisrael, page 178, together in the Hebrew. Avinu Shabbat Sor Yisrael Lagoalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshitz Mi'ichat Gulatenu, Hagen Alea Be'avrat Chastecha, Ufros Alea Sukat Shlomecha, Ushlach Orcha V'Amicha L'Rashea Tzarea V'Yoatzea, V'Taknim Be'etza Tova Milfanecha, Chazek et Yudei B'Gnei Eretz Kodshenu, V'Hanchilem Eloheinu Yeshua, V'Ateret Nitzachon Ta'atrem, V'Natata Shalom Ba'aretz, V'Simchat Olam Yoshvea, V'Nomar Amen. And may Medinat Yisrael continue to be a source of blessing for the Jewish people and for the world. And let us all say Amen. We're going to invite Malinda up to lead us in the Ashrei on page 181.
Ashrei Shveit Beitecha, Od Yehalalucha Selah. Teila LeDavid, Aromim Chalohai Amelech, Avrachashim Chalolam Vaed. Gadol Adonai Malal Me'od, Ulig Dalato, Ein Cheker. Hadar Kevodo Decha, Vedivrei Niflotecha, Sicha. Zecher Avtuvcha Yabiu, Vetzidkatcha Yeranenu. Tov Adonai Lakol, Verachamav Al Kol Ma'asav. Kevod Malchutcha Yomeru, Gvuratcha Yedaberu. Malchutcha Malchut Kol Amim, Umemsheltecha Bechol Dor Vador. Einei Kol Lecha Yisaberu, Ve'ata Noten Lahem Et Achlam Be'ito. Tzadik Adonai Bechol Dracha, Ve'asid Bechol Ma'asav. Ritzon Yerav Yaseh, Ve'et Shavatam Yishma Ve'yoshiem. Thank you. Teilat Adonai Yedaber Pi, Ve'yiveret Kol Basar Shem Kadsho Le'olam Va'ed. Anachnu Nevarech Ya, Me'ata V'yad Olam. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Please rise as the ark is opened, as the Sefer Torah is returned. Yahalelu, page 183.
Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav Shemo levato, Kodo al eretz v'shamayim, vayarem keren leyamo, tila lechol chasidam, livnei Yisrael, Am Kirovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Mizmor leDavid, Avul Adonai b'nei Eli, Avul Adonai, Avod ba'oz lai lai lai, Avul Adonai, kevod shemo Avul Adonai, Be'adrat Kodesh, Kol Adonai, Alamayim, El HaKavod Yiri, Adonai, Amayim Rabim, Kol Adonai, Ba'koach, Ay, 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 Kol Adonai. יאמר. עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה ותומכיה מיושר דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש חדש ימינו חדש ימינו כקדם.
This morning's Darshanit is our Bat Mitzvah, Malinda Marcus. The woman with the coolest shoes in the whole place.
All right. I gotta say, first of all, standing up here in front of all of you makes me really appreciate what our 13-year-olds go through to become B'nai Mitzvah. So, Sarah, Noah, Dahlia, Saffron, oh my God, you have my utter, thanks, and wow, you guys are amazing. So, and you did that. First, I want to express my gratitude to the clergy, Rabbi Schildenfrei, Cantor Aronoff, Rabbi Alexander, and rabbinic intern Jill Goldwright for allowing me this opportunity to cross this off my bucket list. I want to thank my husband, Jason, and my kids, Sarah and Noah, and Arya, you too. My parents and all of my Marcus in-law family for supporting me and being here to celebrate this day with me. I want to thank my friends and my Adat Ariel community for celebrating as well and joining me on this day. And I do want to give a special thank you to my daughter, Sarah. As you've heard, this day would not have been possible without, if she hadn't been so persistent. For years, Sarah has been telling me to do this, and I kept putting it off, and she finally took matters into her own hands. So she cleared the date with Deborah Peterkovsky. She asked the clergy if I could have an aliyah. Then she coordinated the prayers that I'd lead during Shacharit. And then she took it upon herself to teach me my parsha. So after all of that effort, it was difficult to say no. Plus, she's very persuasive, if you've met her. So thank you, Sarah, and I love you. And Noah, thank you so much for surprising me with your visit, and Shoshi for driving him here. That was a big surprise. He showed up yesterday. So one compelling reason for not putting this off anymore was when Sarah told me that Parshat Vayetze, the Parsha from the week when I was born, would fall on my birthday this year. So it felt like B'Sher that I have my bat mitzvah today, exactly 40 years from the day when I was supposed to have one at 12. So it's the most gratifying feeling, I think, when all the pieces of the puzzle fall into place. Whenever a friend or acquaintance learns that I'd never had a bat mitzvah, I get the same reaction. What? But you read Hebrew. Didn't you go to Jewish day school? Yeah, that's true. I did, 9 years. I can read and write in Hebrew, and I can speak it well enough to get around Israel and find the nearest hotel or bathroom. But in my Orthodox day school, a bat mitzvah was just an excuse to have a fancy birthday party. Girls were not encouraged to recite any prayers on the bima, and we most certainly were not allowed to read from the Torah. Plus, I was holding out for a Sweet 16 party, so that was where I was. Priorities of a preteen, right? But now that I'm up here, I do want to let all of you in on a little secret. I am not just doing this for my own bat mitzvah, but I'm also up here on behalf of my father. After my dad's 12th birthday in September of 1938, he began preparing for his bar mitzvah. 6 weeks later, his father and brother were arrested by the Nazis as he watched his synagogue burn during Kristallnacht. There would be no bar mitzvah. When I was younger, I remember asking him, weren't you upset that all 3 of your older brothers had bar mitzvahs and not you? He smiled and replied, who had time to think about it? I was just trying to survive. My father has never been one to pity himself or ruminate on what might have been. Instead, he's always looked forward to with optimistic hopefulness. I'm sure he felt a twinge of remorse at missing out on his rite of passage, so I hope in some small way this makes up for the bar mitzvah that never was. When we open today's Parsha, Jacob leaves his parents' home in Beersheba and makes his way to his uncle Lavan's home in Haran. This is no ordinary moving out. With his mom's help, Jason had just hoodwinked Isaac for his blessing and conned Esau out of his birthright. It's not that he chooses to move out, he has to move out if he wants to save his own life from Esau's vengeance. Rivka strongly encourages Jacob to hide out with her brother until the tension subsides. And being a good Jewish boy, Jacob listens to his mother. However, this was his first time away from home, and I'm sure he felt a bit ambivalent about the move. And luckily, God speaks to him in a dream and assures him that God won't abandon Jacob. In fact, Jacob and his children will be the heirs to the land upon which he was actually having his dream. What are the odds? And no dream would be complete without a ladder full of angels ascending and descending it. Now, why do angels even need a ladder when A, they don't have physical bodies, and B, they can travel anytime they want and anywhere they want? I mean, dreams are generally symbolic, and so is this ladder. One interpretation that I found very intriguing is when the angels descend the ladder, this represents a person succumbing to earthly sins and misdeeds. When the angels ascend the ladder, this represents a person trying to atone for those sins through teshuvah. As human beings, we are, by default, imperfect creatures. We spend our lives trying to live honestly, morally, and righteously, but we don't always succeed. The silver lining is God expects us to make mistakes because God wants us to learn from them and strive to be better people. So once Jacob arrives in Haran, he meets Uncle Lavan and falls in love with his daughter/Jacob's cousin, Rachel. Jacob makes a deal that he will be allowed to marry Rachel after working for Lavan for 7 years. Well, we all know how that ended up. Yes, Jacob is angry over being the victim of a bait and switch. And I'm sure that didn't help with Leah's confidence. But he ends up staying with Lavan for another 7 years. We have to wonder why on earth does Jacob opt to remain with a deceptive and untrustworthy man such as Lavan? He could have just cut his losses and left town with Leah. Some might say that his love for Rachel was so strong he would do anything to gain her hand in marriage, but I disagree. I think what comes around goes around. Jacob realizes Lavan did to him what Jacob did to his father and brother just 7 years earlier. This was payback. Until that point, Jacob got away with a lot without suffering any consequences. Now his past has caught up with him, and he would have to right his wrongs. This is Jacob's descent down the ladder. The Hebrew translation of Haran is crossroads, and Jacob truly has reached a crossroad in his life. Should he continue living his life as usual, or should he strive to be better through a life of penitence? Jacob chooses the latter because he remains with and never seeks vengeance against Laban. He works tirelessly for his father-in-law and makes him a very prosperous man. This is Jacob's way of atoning for his past transgressions and becoming more righteous. This is Jacob's ascent up the ladder. He stays with Laban for an additional 6 years until God tells Jacob to return to his homeland with his wives, 12 sons, and 1 daughter. Let's not forget Dinah. Okay. Jacob's journey from the Holy Land to Haran and back again was not only a physical journey, but a spiritual one. Jacob would never be the reverent patriarch he is today had he not experienced his descent from grace, followed by his ultimate ascent. Jacob knew this, and God certainly did as well. Just like Jacob, we need to embrace our mistakes so we can learn from and rise above them. It's only when we recognize our mistakes that we can begin to ascend that ladder of spiritual success. Shabbat Shalom.
Malinda, if I could, something that you said really struck me, this idea that what happened to Jacob was sort of like a cosmic payback, right? That things have a way of evening themselves out, that things have a way of the scales have a way of balancing. And so I just thought about that in relationship to your family's story, and that what your father was denied today is payback. The late great Jewish philosopher Emil Fackenheim of the Hebrew University says that there's actually a 614th commandment after the Holocaust, and that's not to grant Hitler a posthumous victory. And your bat mitzvah today, and your celebration of our faith, and your involvement in our community, and by extension, the family that you have built that loves and celebrates Judaism, is the fulfillment of that 614th mitzvah. So God bless you, and thank you for being here. We'll continue with the Chatzi Kaddish on page 184.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, Amen. V'yalma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uvchayedocho b'Yisrael b'gala uvizman kariv ve'imeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam ule'olamei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpo'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal. Shmei de Kudesha, Shmei de Kudesha, Shmei de Kudesha berichum, Shmei de Kudesha, Shmei de Kudesha, Shmei de Kudesha berichum. Le'ela mikol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran b'yalema ve'imeru 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 imeru amen ve'imeru 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 amen ve'imeru 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 imeru amen ve'imeru 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 amen.
Please rise. The Musaf Amidah can be found beginning on page 185.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. נעריצך ונקדישך כסוד שיח, שרפי קודש המקדישים שמך בקודש, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ויאמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. כבודו מלא עולם, משרתיו שואלים זה לזה, איה מקום כבודו לעומתם. ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. ממקומו הוא יפן ברחמים, ויחונם המייחדים שמו ערב ובוקר בכל יום תמיד. פעמיים פעמיים באהבה שמה אומרים, שמה ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו, והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו שנית לעיני כל חי, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור אגיד גודלך כל לנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Ose shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
Page 204, Ein Keloheinu.
203, Kaddish Shalem. No, that wasn't the end. That was just the introduction.
Wow.
And then there's, yeah.
We're having just, we're...
Yikra v'yikra shemei rabba b'yama divra kirutev yom lichmachutei b'chayachonu v'mechonu v'chaydocho beit Yisrael ba'agala v'isman kari v'meru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach li'olam u'li'omei u'mayayid yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpor v'yitruma minaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalel shmei dekudesha Brichu li'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tushbchata v'nechamata damiram b'yama v'imeru Amen. Titkabel tzloton uvalton d'chol Yisrael kodam avhani v'shmaya v'imeru. Amen. Yesh lam rabba min shemaya v'chaim elen v'kol Yisrael v'imeru. Amen. Ohoseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'kol yoshvei tevel v'imeru. Amen. And now Ein Keloheinu with Malinda leading us.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Keloheinu, Mi Kadonenu, Mi Kemalkeinu, Mi Kemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
Please rise, Aleinu, page 205.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'atei gedula liyotzeh breshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kehol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, Lifnei melech malchei amlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu noteh shamayim v'yased haaretz u'moshev yikaro b'shamayim imav u'shlinatu zo b'gavei meromim hu Eloheinu einod Ememakenu efesulato kakatu beto
וידעת והשבות אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחתינו. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
In love, we recall those who no longer walk this earth, and we are grateful to God for the gift of their lives and for the cherished memories that never fade. This week, we as a congregational community continue to mark the Shloshim, the 30 days since the passing of Ada Parker, Michael Adler, B. Richheimer, Malka Glowinski, Wojtek Nikafashil, and Marcia Abelson. And on this Shabbat for the coming week, this coming week, we'll observe the yurtzites of Molly Arioff, Sonia Binstock, Shlomo Jonathan, Harold Littenberg, Robert Robertson, Charles Tamaris, Brent Valens, Sophie Wool, Jenya Asher, Eva Berdigoff, Harvey Greenberg, Dr. Carl Langer, William Satt, Ruby Davis, George Famillion, Florence Levine, Victor Matzenbaum, Arnold Rosette, Erwin Wallen, Beverly Wise, Anna Becker, Elia Cohen, Elizabeth Greenbaum, Daryl Jacoby Sanders, Ruth Cordish, Lawrence Porton, Sadie Selza, Harry Spiegel, Gary Steinberg, Elaine Hausman, Lori Lapata, Annette Masler, Mary Silver, Ruben Spiegel, Bernard Arioff, Andrew Benedict, Louis Breif, Doris Goodman, Jeanette Harris, Jean Lee, Reza Schmidt, Louis Sudekin, Rose Tepley, Donald Kravitz, Helen Frieden, Alice Ears, Carol Kapler, Alan Kay, Robert Neiman, Jacob Joel Popowitz, Edward Roseman, George Schneiderman, Harry Silver, and Beatrice Strauss. Is there anyone else in the community observing a yurtzeit for someone I neglected to mention? We'd like to ask those of you who are in mourning or observing a yurtzeit to please rise as we sanctify God's name. The words of Mourner's Kaddish on page 207. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah bi'alma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon u'v'yamechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarach Le'olam Omei Omaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yipa'ar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shmei Dekudisha B'richu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechamata Damiran B'alma V'imru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. And may the memories of our loved ones be a source of comfort and blessing for us, for our families, and for all of the world. And let us all say amen. It's now my pleasure to introduce Adam Spiegel, our synagogue president, for some announcements, and then one guest announcement, surprise end of, there we go, from Joette Labinger. Okay.
Don't give it away.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Adat Ariel. It's great to see everyone here. And Mazal Tov to Malinda Marcus in honor of her bat mitzvah. We should add that Malinda is actually our recording secretary for the executive committee, does a lot for the shul. So thank you for all of that. Today's Kiddush Luncheon is graciously being sponsored by the Marcus and Wozniak families in honor of Malinda's bat mitzvah. Our Darshanit today, Malinda Marcus, our Torah readers, Malinda Marcus, Evan Greenspan, Adam Spiegel, Cantor Judy Dubin-Aronoff, and Sarah Marcus. Our Haftarah was also chanted by Sarah Marcus. Our Aliyah coordinator today was Jim Lesserman. Our Gabayim were past President Manny Aftergood and Ray Glasser, and Ashrei, and the closing tefillot are being led by Malinda Marcus. Just a couple of announcements coming up this week. A week from yesterday, Friday, December 9th at 5:45 is going to be this month's Family Friday Shabbat. So please join us and wear your favorite Hanukkah sweater/sweatshirt. There will be a special prize for the best sweatshirt. Any idea how we're deciding what the best sweatshirt is?
Yeah, if the people agree with the results, then I made the decision. If they disagree with the results, then you made the decision.
Okay, perfect. So show up. Following Friday on Sunday, December 11th, is the LA Zimriah Chorale Concert. They'll be performing George Frederick Handel's Judas Maccabeus in this sanctuary. There's a reception following the concert. It'll also be available live stream. And then our Hanukkah Glow Up is December 13th at 5:30. Join us for a wonderful Hanukkah celebration, including a silent disco where we'll dance wearing headphones to our own music. There'll be a latke bar, of course, and games for children, adult beverages for the adults, and RSVP is required. Now it is my pleasure to ask Joette Lavenger to join us on the bima.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm here on behalf of Amy Mazer, who is the chair of our Torah Fund campaign for Adat Ariel. As most of you know, Torah Fund raises money for the educational institutions of conservative Judaism that train our future rabbis, cantors, and Jewish educators. Each year here at Adat Ariel, we choose someone to be the Chayei Olam Award recipient for someone who has demonstrated volunteerism above and beyond to Adat Ariel. We are going to have a tea in April, so I hope you'll all come back to honor our Chayei Olam Award recipient. And I'm very, very, very happy to announce that this year's recipient is today's bat mitzvah, Malinda Marcus. And the rabbi told you all the good things about her, and there are more to come.
I think that Melinda's selection as our Chayei Olam recipient for this year just underscores what we've all felt and expressed this entire morning, which is an admiration, Melinda, for your connection to Adat Ariel and your connection to the Jewish people and to our tradition. So Mazel Tov to you, and we look forward to celebrating again in April. Speaking of celebrations, we are going to conclude our service with Adon Olam. But before we do that, you may have seen on your way in, there was this lawn sign. This is not the lawn sign, this is a postcard, but of the design. It is a statement of the imperative of adding light. Shine a light for justice, love, kindness, compassion, humanity, allyship, and community. This is a project of which we are partnering with the Jewish Federation, which is actually being spearheaded by our own Joanna Mendelson. And so the idea is that you take a lawn sign. Oh, thank you. Look, everyone turn around. There's Ray in the back. Turn towards there are those and there are the H brackets that you could pick up a lawn sign and the metal bracket in the lobby, and then please put it in your front lawn so your whole entire community can see your commitment to these higher ideals which we share and which we share with so many other people. So we hope that you'll be able to do that.
Can I say one thing?
Sure.
And in the theme of light, and I know that Adam announced our concert on Sunday the 11th, but Judas Maccabeus is, I mean, obviously you can tell Judah Maccabee, right? Hanukkah's story. Hanukkah is we can talk quite a bit about light and bringing light into the world as we drosh and we discuss Hanukkah. This particular piece that we're doing, we're doing a reduced version of a longer oratorio. It's about an hour and a quarter total, and it tells the story of Judah Maccabee, etc., and his merry band. And it's a piece that is probably next to Handel's Messiah, his second most famous large choral work. But it hasn't been performed in Los Angeles in probably about 15 years anywhere in the city, to the best of our knowledge. And so come here and hear it in a free concert a week from tomorrow at 3 o'clock, and it'll be extraordinarily enjoyable and a nice way to begin your Hanukkah observance a little early. And then 2 days later, you can go. I just can't wait to see people dancing with no music, but just with earbuds or whatever.
And folks have asked about that. We want that to be a multi-generational celebration. And so Liron DeVere, who actually sent out this cute video, her idea was, wait a second, we can have both quiet and dance at the same time. And so for those of you who prefer more subdued opportunity to sip a beverage and engage in conversation, you can do that, while other people can put on their headphones and boogie on down with the cantor.
Sounds brilliant.
Yeah, so it really is. So it's for all generations and for all different types of environmental tastes. And we're also, this afternoon, having the opportunity to study Secrets of the Rabbis. Rabbi Alexander, what are we studying today?
It's a secret, no. As you may know, a lot of the texts that we've done have been rather out there, and today's is rather out there for God, because this is a visit with God and God's need for prayer. So we're looking at that, and then we're going to look at some of the absolutely funkiest Talmud that you've ever heard and how the other rabbis react to their crazy colleagues.
Excellent. So Secrets of the Rabbis, that's after Kiddush lunch. And speaking of Kiddush, we're going to try and end this service before dinner time. So we're going to ask everyone to continue on page 211, Adon Olam. Here, the whole family, come on up.
Come join me.
Come on. Yeah. Page 211, Adon Olam.
Now you get to sing it with me. The OG.
Okay, you start. I don't know what the OG is.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Le'et Nasa B'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Lotakol Levado Yimloch Nora Vehu Haya Vehu Hoveh Vehu Yiyeh Betifara Vehu Echad Ve'ein Sheni Le'am Shilo Le'ach Bira Beli Reshit Beli Tachli Velo ha'os ve'ha'misra ve'hu eli ve'chai go'ali ve'tzor hebli be'et tzara ve'hu nisi umanosli menat kosi ve'yom ekra ve'yado apkid ruchi Be'et ishan be'aira ve'im ruchi geviati Adonai li Eloi ra.
Please rise.
Okay. Oh boy. Set me up. Okay. Can you do it with me, please? Okay. Al ken berach Adonai et Yom HaShabbat vayikadshehu. Zavri.
L'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen. Okay.
And the chalice, yep.
Yes. And now wash the hands. And we'll make the bracha together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Oh my gosh, I forgot. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Shabbat shalom.
That flew out the window. The word.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This was amazing. Oh my gosh. Sorry. I'm so glad for all your kind words. Your leadership.
When I go into the bed, which is quite a bit these days, I sing your praises to your children. And they are,
Mazel tov. You have a card number 7 still?
Oh, yeah.
Good. Because the bar mitzvah gets invalidated.
gotta say, there's something dripping, I think, from the roof.
Repair estimates and everything already as part of the refresh of the space. So, yeah. Here for free food. Patrick's making mac and cheese.
You heard of JFK Jews?
JFK Jews.
Yeah, just for Kiddush.
Oh.
I was going to say, Peter Levitan came pretty late, but he's not here for Kiddush. He's there for the rabbi. Yeah, like the thing.
Yes. Well, almost made it before noon. I just almost made it before noon.
You didn't say who your keepa's from.
I forgot the kippah.
Who is it?
It's actually not in the Dot family. It's a Ramah family.
Oh, who's that?
It's Olivia Barron, PBS.
Okay, I don't know. I'm wearing the same almost color, but mine is from Dora Susanna Schoenberg, as in the composer Schoenberg. That's his great-grandmother. You know, Randy Schoenberg. And the whole art thing, whatever.
I'm wearing Sarah Haley Rice, and I have no idea who she is.
Rabbi Schuldenfrei installation. I've got like 40 of them
May
in my
28th,
office.
2022.
Because they have the clip in them.
Oh, right, maybe somebody had shown me.
Because I can't keep them on my head without a clip. So when I saw that there's the clip, I'm like,
My brother's first cousin is 80, like, she's like 80.
But I like because I like the inner. Yeah.
What do you like?
The inner clip. And the Yankee one I have has two clips on
those
the
are great.
inside.
Those are
I have a Ramah one like that
Me
too.
too.
If you want one, I've got a lot.
Ken says to me, you know, like, I feel such camaraderie with Eric, and I said, because we're going to the he said, well, we're both Yankee fans.
That's right.
Ah.
Politics.
Some things run deeper.
Does that make a community?
See, that's what I argue.
I know you do.
Because I argue that the people who sit in the bleachers will all know each other, and when they come to every game and they do the lineup for the Yankees and they have a chant for each person, that's prayer, and that's religion right there.
It's like
There's someone who did that, Maren Morris, because all the country music I listen to, her name's Maren Morris, and she wrote a song called My Church. And the song is basically like, not about the Yankees, but it's about the music and the people in music who have affected her all the way through life. And she says, I guess that's my church. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Why are you pointing at me?
Because
yet another country reference.
Another country song that's really good. You know,
Yeah, they're really
at
good.
least lyric-wise. I haven't heard the music, so I.
What I do with my
Yeah, well, I but I can tell the story. I need to squeeze it.
That's true.
It works. Yeah.
We had never heard of it. His cousin said, oh, my cousin.
But